Hi everyone, welcome back to SwitchUp. I think I need to make myself feel better after my 6th crash playing, yes you guessed it, Cyberpunk 2077. A big thanks to the guys over at Hypercharge Unbox. They've sponsored this video with a very specific request. Now, they've entered the IndieDB Game of the Year Awards and basically want us to let you know about it. There's a link down in the top comment. If you click on that, then you just click on top 100 to vote. However you vote, because there's lots of titles on there, if you want to win a free copy of Hypercharge Unbox, then once you've voted, just screenshot and share it with Hypercharge themselves. And by all accounts, Joe, their marketing guy, is going to be dishing out some serious codage. But if you're interested in that, then yeah, links in the top comment, go for it. Remember to stick around to the end of the video where we look at some games you should avoid. But other than that, let's see if there's anything worth adding to our backlog this week. What's on sale? Let's find out. First up then, and a ridiculously cheap price. This is crazy, it's 63% off, and it's Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, one of the best games on the Nintendo Switch. Now obviously you'll be aware of the name Monster Boy, as well as Wonder Boy, and potentially you'll know about the split that happened with the series going in 2 different directions via 2 different developers. But with this one, you've got a 15-hour enjoyable adventure, HD visuals running at 60 FPS, loads of different monsters that you can turn into, which then facilitates different gameplay aspects, and new paths and secrets that are done through exactly that. The soundtrack is delightful. I don't know how much I can get away with playing it without getting flagged, but yeah, it's very cool. It has a 5.6 gigabyte download size, and realistically, if you're a slightly slower player like myself, it's going to take you about 20 hours to get through. It's just a lovely game, and I think Christmas time playing something like this is perfect. This sale goes on until January the 9th. Next up then, we've got the sponsors of this video. It's Hypercharge Unbox, and it's not currently on sale, but they're hoping that some of you who have enjoyed the game, and I know many of you have heard us talk about it in the past and enjoyed downloading and playing it, then some of those people would consider going and voting for this one. You just need to click the link in the top comment, which will take you to the IndieDB Top 100 of the Year Awards. You don't need to sign in or anything, you can just click on vote for this game, and well, vote for it if you like it. Now obviously, if you didn't enjoy it, then you're not going to do that, but they're really hoping that many of you did, and well, we really did, so quite happy to tell you to head over there and vote if you enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments if you do manage to vote, and the developer will be giving away a few copies of the game. In fact, what I love about Hypercharge Unbox is that they haven't stopped developing it. There's quite a big community for this one over on Discord. There's a massive expansion that's going to add single player content or more single player content, and really it's just a good example of how developers can look after the community and the game after its initial launch, and at SwitchUp we really appreciate that. Next up, we've got one of my favourite games on the Nintendo Switch, and that's Children of Mortar. It's an absolute delight of an experience, and it's currently 50% off its all-time cheapest price of just £9.89. That's an absolute steal. It combines elements of a few different games. There are aspects of it that reminded me of like Diablo 2, but you can also play cooperatively with 2 of you controlling each character, of which there are 7 playable ones. But if you're unfamiliar with this one, I'm sure most of you have heard of it and maybe consider picking it up or have already played it. If you haven't, I would strongly recommend it. It has a very strong narrative running through it, which focuses on the Bergson family, and unlike a lot of roguelite titles, when you come back to base, per se, which is their house, fully narrated cutscene segments that look beautiful. A really good game, well worth your time, and you're going to be playing it for around about 20 to 30 hours, and it has a download size of 2.2 gigs. I bet a load of you are like me, and when you first saw Crypt of the Necrodancer, you thought, yeah, nah, not for me. And I held off on it for quite a while, but then it went on one of these ridiculously low sales and I picked it up, and my goodness, it's so much fun. It's currently £3.59, which is 80% off until January the 8th, and it describes itself as a rhythm-based dungeon crawler. You have to move to the beat to work your way through those dungeons, but every time you move, the enemies move as well, so there's a little bit of tactics to it. There is a local co-op mode to enjoy as well, and it's quite a chunky game, quite big. It's going to take you around about 20 to 40 hours to complete. It obviously has a very compulsive soundtrack, but developer Brace Yourselves did such a good job of taking something that's an existing formula and mixing it up with the audio aspects enhancing rather than simply being a gimmick. Really good, and for that price, it's an absolute steal. There's a game on the Switch called Slain Back from Hell, which has a bit of a legendary status. Valfaris is the sequel to, in many ways, the sequel to that game. It has an excellent heavy metal emphasis and soundtrack. There's a new game plus mode here as well, but the core game is brutally tough. It's very enjoyable, but it's not going to be for everyone. It's a 2D action platformer full of blood and gore and that pixel art, and I think this is where I got my single developer. It's not a single developer, it's actually a few different developers, but the artwork comes from Andrew Gilmore, and that's what gives it its very distinctive style. There's music here from Celtic Frost guitarist Kurt Victor Bryant, and everything about the game is visceral. It's a pretty decent length for this genre, about 10 to 15 hours, and you're looking at a download size of just over a gig. That sale goes on until January the 3rd. Next up, we've got a very little known game called Elly, which I really enjoyed. I played it a long time ago now, but it's currently only £3.52, which is 72% off. It describes itself as a whimsical, handcrafted, single-player adventure filled with a variety of puzzles and exciting platforming, and well, yeah, that's basically it in a nutshell. It's very simplistic, it's easy to pick up and play. It has a very nice soundtrack, this one, and you'll be journeying across beaches, different temples, mountaintops and caves. I was just impressed with how slick the whole thing was. It's not going to set any worlds on fire, but if you're after a simplistic puzzle platformer that you can just enjoy alone or with perhaps some kids, then yeah, this could be for you. It's only around about 5 hours long as well, so for that price I think it's just about right. This is a 749 meg download, and the sale goes on until the 21st of December. Not a massively original game in terms of gameplay, but one that I absolutely love for its relaxing and stylistic visuals as well as soundtrack, is a title called Gris, and yeah, it is pronounced Gris. I thought it was Gris originally. Gris is an adventure platform action puzzle game that's best described as serene. All of your abilities are granted through your dress, and the story surrounds a girl who is trying to deal with a really painful experience in her life. Like I say, gameplay wise it's not going to set the world on fire, but it's one of those that has a really nice atmosphere and is well worth a play. Has a download size of 3.9 gigs, and it's only short at around about 4 to 6 hours long. At 60% off, taking it down to about $6 or your regional equivalent. Be quick because this sale only goes on until the 17th. Next up, a game that every kid should have for Christmas Day if they've just unwrapped a Nintendo Switch, and that's Zelda Breath of the Wild. The game's simply incredible. It's a masterpiece without a doubt, and it's currently 33% off until December the 18th. It took the Zelda franchise in a very different direction, with elements of survival and crafting, and a slightly more in-depth stamina management system than we were used to. It's a huge game, and if you're looking for all of the different shrines, you want to get all of the hidden items and unlocks, as well as exploring every nook and cranny, well, you could potentially spend 200-300 hours in this one. It's a large download of 14.4 gigs, but it's an essential game to own on your Nintendo Switch. Next up, we've got Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and this comes recommended, obviously, if you've completed the first game. But I absolutely loved it. It's up there with probably my top 5 games of all time on the Switch, and this port was incredible. It looks absolutely amazing, has a beautiful soundtrack, and the Studio Ghibli inspired artwork has just been taken to the next level. It's a Metroidvania, it's fully handcrafted, so there's no roguelite elements going on here, and there are a number of ridiculously tough bosses to fight your way through. Easily one of the best games on Switch, and one that everyone should own. It's currently 15% off up until Christmas, taking it down to around about $25 or your regional equivalent. Roki is a fantastic game on the Nintendo Switch. It has a fairy tale feeling to it, and it joins Tovi on a fantastical journey to save her family, or so the blurb goes. It starts out at quite a slow pace, but soon picks up, and it has a very foreboding atmosphere. The artwork and just general design of it do a really good job of doing visual storytelling at its best. There's a fast travel system here as well, which is a nice thing to see in an adventure title, and it's something really that I think anyone could enjoy if you're a fan, I guess, of adventure games. There are different riddles, puzzles, as well as environmental puzzles to solve, and there's a ton of atmosphere. This is a great game. It's going to take you around about 12 to 15 hours to do everything, and it has a 2.2 gigabyte download. An absolutely lovely game, and at 40% off until December the 18th, a really nice pickup.
Unveil the story of tragic loss and the path to redemption. Confront Tuve's past. Explore her memories.
Usually I would save the last slot for a bit of a hidden gem, but I'm just going to do a gem, and it's Streets of Rage 4. Now this game had such a weight of expectation on its shoulders, and I think the test of time has shown that it's more than lived up to it. There's so much nuance to it. It is a beat 'em up in the classic sense, but it's almost beat 'em up perfection. The artwork is fantastic. They did a great job, and you can play co-op with up to 4 people, which is just an absolute blast. There are 12 different stages here, and obviously boss fights to work your way through, but there's far more skill to this than I initially thought, and it wasn't until Glen showed me how a good player plays that I realised there's a bit more to this one than first meets the eye. If you're not a beat 'em up fan, then you're still not going to enjoy this, but if you are, even remotely, there's so much gameplay and enjoyment to be had here. It's 30% off at the moment until December the 18th. Which takes us on to 2 games that you should avoid because they're hot garbage. First up then, we have a game that I bought for the very purpose of this series, and that's Fort Boyard, which is currently 80% off. And it didn't disappoint. It's absolutely shocking. We all know that Fort Boyard was brought to fame by the amazing talents of Melinda Messenger. She was a talented presenter, and a wonderful person. But unfortunately, the game of Fort Boyard isn't nearly as charming and features a number of disappointing minigame style events that are essentially uninspiring and mundane to do over and over again. And then then there's the ridiculous Animal Hunter Z, which focuses on the story that a virus has infected the animals, and the only way to protect the island is to destroy all of the infected animals. Some of them might try and attack you. Will you survive your mission and see harmony restored to the island? I can tell you one thing, it's not going to bring harmony to your Nintendo Switch. It's the very epitome of shovelware crap. You'll be fighting glowing cows, glowing deer, and even a glowing bear. Why oh why the developers thought it would be a good idea to put in any time to bring this across to the Nintendo Switch is absolutely beyond me. In fact, why did they make it in the first place? Perhaps they themselves were the first victims of the zombie virus. No, do not buy this game. Awful. Right, that's it for this week. Don't forget to go and vote for Hypercharge Unbox or one of the other games if you don't like that game. The link's in the top comment. Post it to Twitter, post it down below, and they're going to give away a load of free copies of Hypercharge Unbox. So even if you've got it, you could pass it on to a pal. That'd be nice, wouldn't it, for Christmas? Thanks for watching. A big thanks to our patrons who support us each and every month. And as always, for all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya!